This is actually one of the ways, one of the reasons I fell into speaking about this interconnection of being on the medicine path and entrepreneurship is what I started witnessing, even within my own community, even on the dietas I've gone on. What I would see is, a lot of people would go in there hating their jobs and hating their life and kind of wanting to make these big changes. And they would go have these peak experiences, whether it's, with medicine or other things or a combination, usually a combination. And then they would fall back into their own patterns of like, well, I'm just going to be miserable. And it was kind of like, why are you doing all this work if you're not willing to make the change? So that was one thing that I would see come up. So that was one side of it, which is like, people so stuck in fear that they don't make any changes in their life. And then they're just chasing all the ayahuasca or whatever it is, and not really getting any of the, like, what's the point of doing all this work if you're not actually going to make it manifest in your reality? So that I would see, that's one side. And then I would see the opposite extreme, which is go on dieta, drink lots of ayahuasca. And I know this has happened to me. It happens to me a lot, where then it's like, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of everything I own, quit my job, take my guitar and live on a mountain and totally check out from life and drop off the earth and wait until money isn't a thing and I can live off the land. And I've seen that happen with some of my good friends. And then a year later, they come back and they're like, oh my God, I'm out of money. Shit. So I was like, there's these extremes, and the ones that went and just quit it all and threw it all away. And, which, of course I love the idea of like, yes, definitely clear some crap out of your life that doesn't serve. But at the same time, when I would witness that, I was like, well, you have these gifts, you're born here at this time in human history where, you're needed in some form. Like, to me, every human has something to share. And if we can just shift our mindset around, okay, what does it really take to create a transformed planet? Like, that's my larger mission, is like, how do we contribute to helping one another, helping the earth, helping, be in more harmony on all levels. But I don't know if it helps if you just check out completely and like leave society and leave the systems. To me, and it's interesting, I had a major download about this during one of my last ceremonies where, because I've always been kind of fighting myself on this too, is like, well, I would love to just leave the system completely, but then you can't really make the change you want to see if you're just checked out of the system. So, to me, it's about playing in the system and infiltrating it with this new way of living, with this new way of doing business, with this new way of being, meaning like, okay, what happens when you start from the heart and then put it out there? What happens when you start to see money as actually an empowering, an empowerment tool that is given? And the reality is, yes, of course, it'd be great if it all just disappeared from the earth, but that's not going to happen today. So instead of fighting against it, we can actually embrace it and use it in new ways, positive ways, ways that are actually empowering, like you just said. And this is where, I've done a lot of the deep work around shifting my own beliefs in money and mindset around money. And of course, like so much ancestral work around money. I mean, it's all interconnected, right? It's like the human experience is tied into all this, taboo around sex and power and money and our, our ability to manifest and our mind and all the inner power that we have that we're not tapped into. All of this it's all interwoven, right? It's like, but if we actually see this differently, like we take an opportunity to shift our perspective and welcome it with love versus like, oh, everyone with money is bad. I know so many people who believe that. So this is where I really encourage people. And I know, because all my clients come to me with this like deep money issues and blocks around like, who am I to do this? And how do I ask for money and get paid? And how do I start a business while also being like truly authentic with who I am? And I'm like, yeah, there is a way. I mean, I've done it. Most of my friends who are, almost all my friends who are entrepreneurs are doing extremely well. And they're all like just really genuinely good people with good hearts who are like living their authentic truth. And that's it, So there is a way, but I do believe a lot of this is like the deeper, like letting go of like what you just said. It's like holding on to our traumas and living in victimhood and like blaming the external, which as we're seeing is such a huge problem in our society right now. Everybody's like pointing fingers and blaming external and blaming. And I'm like, no, point inward first. Just go inward. Like it's all, work on your own inner, I'm trying to not even use the word healing anymore, but your own like loving what's in you, loving your shadows, loving all the, the work that needs to be looked at, like the traumas, the ancestral shit you carry. By the way, I hope I can swear on this stuff. I believe that's the real work that needs to be done on this planet is like, go inward first, look at yourself, because it's not like the 10, 20, 30 multi-gazillionaires around the world that are ruining the planet. It's like each and every one of us, it adds up. So to me, this is like literally my mission of what I do every day in my business. This is the world I see, is that we all have the potential to live from our hearts, be very well supported, doing work that we love, and actually like start to live in balance with all humans and earth. And I know it's, maybe we won't see in our lifetime, but I know it's the direction we're going in. I do believe the growth in plant medicines and the awareness of psychedelics and sacred plant medicines, I know this is a part of this, of course it has to be. I mean,